Ha! Oh, look, we're here. And we brought somebody with us. Woo! Oh, God, I still have to shift
We made
over.
a friend.
But at least,
Oh yeah, I know that guy.
yeah,
Wait a second.
out of the panini. Wait. Oh, I was so confused, LV. I read that and I was like, I came out of a panini? The pandemic. The pandemic.
Your mom didn't have the panini talk with you?
Oh my God, that's the new. Who needs a stork when you can just come out and pop out of a panini? Oh, okay, well, that's, I guess now.
You people need a health class. What's wrong with you?
Well, we're Americans, so.
Oh my God, here we are. All right, well, welcome to another lovely episode of this stuff. Age of Myth, now in color. Well, no, I guess we were in color before. Just wanted to do something different. I don't know. Apparently, it's our affiliate anniversary, so that's been fun. Vertical. No! LV, you go to jail. You go to jail right now. How dare you? Oh no! All the
Let's wait till
ingredients.
she eats it.
All the ingredients are coming out now. Anyway, okay. I don't. This is not the final setup, but here's partial setup. So here I am.
It's not its final form.
This is not the final form, but because I
It's
found
not
a
its
whole,
final evolution.
yeah, I found a whole other box of like greenery, and I was like, oh, I thought I had used it all, but I guess I didn't. So, oh well, I get to decorate more, and then you can't even see like I did spend so much time with at the top, and Darth Maul looks particularly scary with the way that looks up there, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll just let it rest. And there's this whole. There you go. Look at the. I'm just looking at the matrix void of white over here. Is what Iskra called it. So I can just reach my hand in there and I'll pull out whatever I desire.
That's where Saunders been this whole time.
Oh no! Oh no! I messed it up. Oh no! Oh no! There it goes. Stay. All right. I think it's good. All right. Put your hand in where?
You heard him.
it. Oh no!
Just all the way up in that panini, Aaron.
I hate everything. I hate it all. It's fine. This is my life now. Okay. So yes, as you may have noticed, we have a lovely guest of ours, a returning guest, a new face.
Thanks for having me back.
We didn't scare you
Yeah.
off last time, so we gotta try again.
Friend of the
Well-
show.
Friend of
Round two.
Do better. Well, see, last time it was just Cypress. This time it's gonna be all y'all. So, last time he was with a whole bunch of new friends. Now it's a whole bunch of new friends again. So it's fine. So yes, shout out to Top Down Tabletop. Cobra, do you have any announcements from your side over there? Anything going on?
No. We're taking a little bit of a break because August is crazy. So we'll be back with more streams in September, but we have a webcomic that we put out every Friday. And if you want to see about that, join our Discord. You can find it from from Knights of Silvermoon's Discord. I think everybody in this chat's probably in both
It's
of them
all one
already.
big incestuous Discord family.
I hate that too. I hate
But
everything.
what we don't hate is the comic, so go check it out.
Yeah.
Also on YouTube, there's been a series of voice-acted YouTube shorts of the comic pages.
It's true.
You might hear some familiar voices.
Yep.
But weirdly, not voicing their own characters. It's a whole thing.
Beautiful. All right. Also, congratulations on your first episode last Wednesday. It was quite marvelous. You did it.
What
You
a
survived.
wild ending. Well, not everybody.
Yeah. I'm sure it's fine, and that was the extent of the wild roller coaster that Graham has in store for you guys. I'm sure it's fine.
It blew some minds.
It blew something. I don't know.
I don't know what you do to paninis, Aaron, but I think.
Okay, anyway, we are moving.
But moving on, tomorrow is episode 2 for more vampiric shenanigans on Savannah by Night.
Yeah.
Come watch. Maybe someone else won't make it to the end.
Who knows? Not me. Oh. All right. And
Tonight, you.
it is me. Just kidding. It is me. Alrighty. I think with that, we'll go ahead and jump into the episode of Age of Myth. I'm modding so. You are modding so hard. You're just the best. All right. Journal of Ma'al Saj'ul. We have traveled some way deeper into land, headed for the city of Sparta. Traveling with these young Orphics, at first I believed it would have been an adventure. Now I believe it is going to be a health hazard. But yet, what is a little danger in the face of watching history unfold? They have spoken with gods. I have spoken with gods. Something I had not anticipated in my long life. And they do so with a casualness, unlike anyone I have seen before. Now, traveling these bedarkened lands, the sun hanging high and yet obscured by some invisible source. The nights pitch and dark, unable to see the stars. Perhaps it is an end time. And yet they face these problems ever so resolutely. Perhaps we will find more answers once we arrive in Sparta. Unfortunately, this entry into the city was marred. I wish I could take it all back. Ma'al turns around slowly. What are you doing here?
What are you doing here, you old lizard? I've missed you. How long has it been?
Why do you insist on calling me that? She buries her
Because
face
you hate it.
in her claws as everybody turns around. Go ahead and describe yourself.
You see standing before you a human, maybe in his early 30s, late 20s, a little bit of a dad bod going on. Looks like maybe he hasn't shaved in a few days. And strung across his back, there is a very finely crafted mandolin with the inlay of some twisting vines interspersed with bees in flight around the edge of the body. You must be the Orphix that I've been sent here to find. I knew there was something about you, even with that hood up, screamed Snakekin to me, and then I saw Maal, and, well, no way it couldn't be you.
Everyone, let me introduce you to the most detestable man this side of the Aegean. Oretano.
Only this side, Maal?
I am lucky that you don't get out further. She looks like she's looks like she's somewhere between being just annoyed as ever, which also is just kind of her normal face, but she's still kind of hiding her disbelief in who she sees in front of her. Wait, what did you say? She says, you know of these?
We need to get off the street and right now.
Yes. Yes, I think we should perhaps go someplace a little bit more secluded to discuss. I have some information that I think they're going to be very interested in. And probably you too, but you don't have to admit it.
I doubt it. She basically does everything
There we
but
go.
cross her arms and like pouts. What were you gonna say, Themisto?
Themisto narrows her eyes at the situation a little bit, but with a shrug, as they've encountered all manner of things on this journey so far. She decides to follow wherever they lead, Malin, our new companion.
Lovely. Okay. Let's see here. She do you lead them somewhere, or do you allow Maal to lead them somewhere?
If Maal starts taking him somewhere, I'll follow and see where she's going.
Okay. Maal starts to walk down the street a little bit, and then just kind of like looks around. And then Davos and Xanthus kind of not shove themselves in front, but kind of move to the front and look back towards Laertes. If you desire somewhere to go that is quiet, we know a place, unless you want to search for the one that you are looking for already.
Start the nearest first.
Okay. They take a moment to like talk amongst themselves for a second, and then seem to come to an accord and start to walk down along the street. Let me see here.
And this glass wizard is just eyeing everything at this point. Before he was just, I'm in a new city I have not been to. I want to learn all the things. Now it's just, now I am so concerned because one word was said by one random dad bod. maximum over paranoia has been achieved.
Go ahead and make a perception check. I have to remember how to play this game.
Not great, but I'm gonna live with it. It's a 9.
Okay.
It's dark. I can't see anything.
Okay. It is.
And I don't know
mean,
where to look.
yeah. The city is kind of nestled in the valley between these mountains. So there's like these really majestic mountains on either side, and the city kind of just spreads up into this little valley a bit. You make your way through some of the buildings here in the center as the Hobgoblin boys lead you more towards the center of the city. You eventually get to a off the beaten path a little bit and over into a couple of side streets. There is a small tavern-looking place. If a hole in the wall could be compared to a hole in the wall of a hole in the wall. This almost looks more like someone's like porch that they have like 3 tables set in front of.
So we're subletting a hole in the wall.
Davos points to the tables, and it's kind of an enclosed, almost like patio. There is like dried reeds that are used as kind of a makeshift blind or curtain that kind of like bamboos all the way up from bottom, so you can see that there's the movement going back and forth. On each of the tables there are some oil lamps that have been set up for added illumination, despite the fact that it is technically, still daytime. But with the dim light that there is, it's just they are trying to do their best to make it a little brighter, despite it would normally be a nice little sun-shaded porch patio sort of situation. Davos comes in, points to the some individual chairs and tables, and just says, if you wish to have a seat, I will go and find the mistress of the house. Sotera is a kind host, and she generally takes good care of the soldiers. This was a spot where we could come and relax when we weren't in training. And he goes,
Sorry, Sotera, was it?
Sotera.
Okay. Thank you.
And he and Xanthus go inside, though Xanthus goes to the doorway and just kind of stays half in, half out, just kind of keep an eye on you guys and the surrounding area, while Davos goes inside. Ma'ald goes and plops herself into a seat, just kind of folds up her scaly arms and just is kind of glowering and glaring a little bit. You guys all take a seat.
Yeah, Themista will thank our young Spartan warriors for bringing us here, and then we'll take a seat.
Okay.
Next
say-
to Phoebe.
I'd say Laertes would be aching to take a seat, but also trying to not be the first one to sit.
Yeah, Themista will sit down.
Yeah.
She'll start the chain of butts to slabs of 2x4.
Butt chain.
Oh my god. Okay.
Her panini press. Nope, never mind.
Oh my god.
So, Oritano, was it?
Yes, I think it's I'd appreciate a round of introductions. All the description I got is I would know you by your curious nature.
Who gave you this description?
Hecate. Some fellow
Just-
members of the Fold running into town thought I should meet up with you.
Just making sure that you are indeed who we're supposed to meet.
Aaron, do we believe this individual?
Insight check.
What's that game mechanic?
I can use my Themister.
13.
I need to roll against that, Aaron?
I mean,
Artificial 20.
That's up to you.
I mean,
14, if it matters.
28 on whatever I rolled.
Well,
So you
Look
can,
at
well,
Mr.
if you're
Fancy
lying
Pants.
to us.
you can
I won't know.
spin whatever yarn you want to spin.
No, I seem to be telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very comfortable for somebody that's not.
How should I have how could I not have guessed that you would have been involved somehow in all of these things, considering your kind?
You know, my wanderings take me to interesting places, and surely a place where the sun is going out. Quite interesting.
How long has it been out?
Well, it's been about 2 days now. Is that right, Aaron? I'm reading the notes correctly.
Yes.
This
That's
is
been about 2 days
consistent.
now. Yes.
We encountered it changing around the same time.
Well, I encountered something else around the same time. Man calling himself Orcos of Cordion has begun speaking out quite loudly against the gods in some of the human neighborhoods around town, and trying to, seems to me, if I'm reading this correctly, to turn the humans against the hobgoblins and cause some strife in the city, perhaps. He's operating
Orcos
out
of
of a
Cordion, you say?
Yes, Orcos of Cordion. He's operating out of a furrier shop in one of the human neighborhoods, calling it a temple now.
A temple to what?
Phobos, I assume.
Yes. You say you know Hecate and the Fold. Are you, do you have abilities?
You see, you see Ma'al look over to you. I suppose you could call them that.
I'll just kind of wave my hands in the air and leave a trail of sparkles behind them.
She rolls her eyes. Larry, thanks for what you're gonna say.
Do I get the impression that this was a relationship that went sour? Is that what's going on here? Like, we just ran into her ex and it ended badly.
I would no.
Make
I
an
mean,
insight check. That's interesting. I like that.
Is this potential Bard's entire backstory just "It Wasn't Me" by Shaggy?
Oh no! I mean, you can make an insight check if you wish to like see try and ascertain the intricacies. of-
17.
I was like, do I even have dice? I do. Thank you, Kindred, for this lovely.
I'm trying to think now of like the ye old Greek version of "It Wasn't Me."
Yeah. There doesn't appear to be any sort of it's more like disdain, I guess. And almost like with a minor dash of disgust that she has for him.
But like sexy disdain, or what are we talking? Like, what is the tinge here?
She's just jealous that I can cut loose and she hasn't relaxed in 50 years.
See, now that tracks. I mean, that we knew. This
I
lizard
must-
needs to get slizzard.
Oh my god.
I must hear the story of whatever has happened, but I think you also mentioned introductions. I'm Phoebe.
I'm Cypress.
Laertes.
Demisto.
It's a pleasure to meet all of you. As Maul here said, I am Oretono. And welcome to Sparta, I guess.
Yes, wish it was under different circumstances.
As do I. Particularly that you were not involved in any of this. Were you? Are you involved in any of this, Oretono?
What do you think?
I think you are. Somehow, this is probably your fault. You and your stinking meddling.
And she thinks I don't have powers, if I can call them that. If you think I can block out the sun, that'd be quite the act.
I do not know. I would not put anything past your.
Probably a good idea.
She just does. Seems for once she's kind of at a loss for words. She just goes back to pouting. As we'll say, as she like leans back, Davos, Davos comes back out from the door, followed by a hobgoblin woman, Sotera. She looks to be probably for a hobgoblin in her middle years. Dressed very plainly, but comes out with a large, like, what was it, handled vase and a tray full of goblets that she kind of carries partially against her. She comes over to the table.
I think you mean hobgoblins.
I think I know what I meant. That I think I know what I meant. God damn it. Anyway, you go. She comes and brings the plate. The boys told me that we had a mixed company. I do not, I'm afraid, have anything that would be finer for such distinguished traveling people besides these humble clay things. And she sets them down on the table, one cup in front of everybody. I have
Whatever you can provide is a kindness. Thank you.
Of course. I have some wine here. She starts to pour in each of the cups. Do you wish any food? I can go bring something to nibble on if you are wanting to rest your weary feet.
Yes, please.
Okay. Davos, it was good to see you again. And she kisses him on the cheek, and then pats the top of his head, and then goes back and away. Davos kind of.
Aw, she's a dorm mom.
Davos kind of just like. Xanthus, let's go give them some privacy so they may speak. And they kind of walk out of the porch and kind of stand on the opposite sides of the building, trying to look as casual, non-casual guard like as possible for this space. Laertes, what were you gonna say?
Could we just get an official spelling of this Orcus of
Oh yes,
Weird Al's accordion?
Orcos.
It's Orkos
Okay.
of.
Yeah.
Kordion.
Can you spell that in Greek, please?
O with theta.
So they were there was a bit of a dump there. They're a human. They're trying to sort of do some propaganda, right? That was the crux of it.
Yes.
Basically.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
You know, when he first revealed himself, he was viewed as crazed and mocked. Some people even threw stones at him occasionally. But now he's grown a little bit of a popular following. It's especially since the last few days here.
Do you think that he has something to do with this, or is it taking advantage of the situation?
You know, that's one thing I'm having a difficulty determining. I'm not sure if he got here at the same time as this dimming occurred, or if he's been here for some time and just now revealed himself. But if he is not a cause, he is very much taking advantage of it, not for anyone's gain but his own.
We could investigate, pretend to be interested in what he has to say.
If maybe that might work for you, but I think I stand out a little bit.
Well, for me, this is the sort of thing we run into at a symposium. Try and go up and confront, debate, challenge.
Though, maybe I could convince him that I have seen the dark. Maybe he knows who I am, but we've encountered other cultists. Perhaps my eyes have been opened.
Ma'al looks over at Oretano. So, you found yourself here at the behest of Hecate.
Yes.
Why have you never mentioned these connections before?
Well, you know, I do most of my work for the Great Partia, but sometimes our interests align.
Dionysios.
Indeed.
I had wondered, the beasts, if you were a friend to those creatures. Yes, I could see why.
Ugh, he partakes a little too much, if you ask me.
She's probably right, but it's fun.
There is a group of worshippers that is famous around Delphi. We were always encouraged to stay away from their parties, but some of the girls would go.
They can get a little out of hand.
Did you ever go to Mistel?
Maybe.
Well, I won't tell.
What is life without a little bit of enjoying it, right?
That's what I'm saying. Looks at Maal.
Well, just doesn't make any sort of eye contact. She just looks at like the dog that knows that it's being talked about, just kind of like looking everywhere else.
Do you not think, Mal, that in times of darkness, finding ways to have joy is an act of rebellion?
She looks very slowly over at Phoebe. I think in this instance, no.
I'm gonna be Mal in about 20 years. If I'm not already halfway there.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Tara comes back out with another tray of goodies, fruits, cheeses, and some like dried jerkies and places it down in the center of the table.
Thank you, mistress. This is more than generous.
It was nothing. I owe the Legion quite a bit. It is the best I can do to take care of them and those patrons that they bring to my door. Not quite a popular spot to stop in Sparta, but I do appreciate the occasional visitors.
Hmm.
I'm sorry that you had to
Speaking
have.
of,
I'm sorry that you had to have arrived during such uncertain times.
speaking of patronage, what do we owe you?
It has already been taken care of.
Oh.
If you need anything, I am just on the other side of the door. You can call my name or come fetch me.
Thank you.
Do not lose hope in the light. Though it may be dark and uncertain.
She stops and kind of nods.
It will come back. Just beyond the clouds. It is always there. Even if you can't see it right now.
I hope so. She
I know so.
kind of smiles and cocks her head curiously and just kind of nods. Goes back inside the house. Maal looks over at Oretano. These Orcos. Does he have many other followers?
He's gaining followers by the day. He has two, we call them assistants, who are very popular with the public.
Who are they?
You will recognize them when you see them, I'm sure. Did I get their names at all, Aaron?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm yet to get their names.
And it's primarily human?
Mhm.
Almost the majority, yes. He has these two, admittedly quite attractive acolytes that move throughout the crowd, listening to him preach, handing out bread, fresh bread, and cooked meats to a very hungry and poor crowd. I do understand why they listen.
Are humans marginalized people here?
They're in the minority, but they're not like. What do you say, Aaron?
Second class?
Yeah. Sparta is a primarily hobgoblin society. Humans are indeed a minority here.
You said we would recognize the assistants. Just by nature of their being, or have we met them
Oh
before?
no, just by nature of their being.
Ah,
It'd be interesting if you had met them before. I had not.
So, other than traveling here collecting stories, which intrigues me, what do you hope to do here?
Oh, nothing gives me more pleasure than traveling around and seeing somebody who has gotten too big for their toga brought low, so that future generations may learn from their arrogance.
I can appreciate that.
He meddles. He's a meddler.
I also write it down.
I mean, he's not much different than what I do. We meddle. I'm a historian. He's just maybe putting it to music. What's the difference?
You'll see. You'll see. There's maybe a twinge of jealousy in her voice, just a little bit.
Hmm.
Davos leans in from around the corner. You looking over at Oretano. Have you, or has there been any word of or response by the kings to any of this?
Seems to largely be proceeding unimpeded.
Yeah. Mistress, he looks over at the Misto. I know that I may have spoken out of turn when we entered the city. I don't actually know if the kings will meet with us. But if you desire to speak with them, I can speak to General Pelios. He's the lead general for King Xenophon, the Hobgoblin King here.
It may be important for us to have their support if we're going to be moving about their city. And it will be important for me to let them know that we are here to help them as well. It is not a one-sided sort of thing.
Then I will go and see if I can gain you an audience with at least one of the kings, if that is what you wish.
Before you go, does this place a particular burden on you? Will it put you at odds with the other warriors or anything of that nature?
He looks down at the ground a little bit. You can see that while Xanthus on the opposite, like this, to get into this little spot, there's like street, and then you like, it's almost like miniature alley, and then it's like the doorways right off of it. So he's kind of standing against the opposite building, watching the people that are walking by on the main thoroughfare. Xanthus now kind of looks over at Davos's. He's waiting for Davos's like reply to this. It is possible that there may be some questions, yes, especially as to I and Xanthus's return when the rest of our unit was lost. But I must report to them regardless. It might be difficult, but I don't foresee any sort of reprimand.
This is a hard thing, but what you do now is to face dangers that even the Spartan army has not gone up against before. If you need me there to support you, I shall.
I hope that it does not come to that, but I appreciate your offer. Yes, I can go and I can speak to Pelios. Xanthus will stay and keep an eye. You are in a safer side of town. Nobody will mess with you as long as they see one of the Legion representing or guarding you. Then they will just assume that you are dignitaries of some fashion or another.
Thank you, Davos. Please be careful if you are going alone. I know this is home, but times are strange.
And yet they will go stranger still. I appreciate your concern. I will go now. He gives a nod to everybody and then punches Cypress in the shoulder.
Ow.
Just kind of. It's not like a whack. It's just like a. And then he just turns around and leaves. Xanthus moves to take over his spot in the doorway into Sotera's little secluded hideaway.
Where can we find Orcus?
One of the poorer human neighborhoods, probably near his temple. I can take you there as soon as you're ready, if you'd like.
We do have to find someone else as well. We might want to find that out before we go and engage with anything.
Right.
And who might that be?
The Weaver's daughter. We were told she would give us sanctuary.
Yes, a place of respite, somewhere far away from the crowds and probably very boring for you, Oretano.
I can make my own entertainment. Don't worry about me.
She takes her cup and just like sips angrily. Okay. Well, go ahead. You're gonna say something, Laertes?
Oh, before we get too far along, can we get the names of those kings again?
Sure. It is King Xenophon. I will put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Oops. Yep.
Is it an X or is it a Z?
Yes.
It's an X.
It's actually a silent Q with a reverse umlaut.
Orcos of Accordion.
I spelled my
King
first
Xylophone,
NPC name
King
right.
Xylophone.
It's
Yay.
only taken a year.
and King Glockenspiel.
Did you
I
see the
guess-
other one?
In general.
Oh, in general.
Pelios. That is the one that Davos is going to go speak with. They represent the hobgoblin side of the dual kingship here.
Okay.
I'm just going to assume that I'll just kind of fills you in a little bit on the Spartan world, so to speak. There is King Menandros is the human king.
Thank you. Yeah, this would be a little bit of the like, so since we're here, or while on the walk, getting a couple of little details like that.
Right. They both have they both act in a unified sense, but they represent their individual peoples. The humans make up more of the working class, I guess, here within the city. They tend to be a lot more of the craftsmen, and they still serve within the Spartan army, but the majority of the Spartan military forces is hobgoblin. They also tend to use their larger size and musculature for a lot more of the harder tasks, but mostly stick to military.
Since King Xenophon has this sort of adjutant in the general, does the human king have any sort of, maybe not a general, but some sort of like right-hand man?
Yes, that would be General Philogos, sorry. General Philogos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would we have learned anything from Ma'al about their disposition, or even from our Hobgoblin boys, something about their dispositions, beliefs, or?
Mm, both are pretty devout. The hobgoblins very much were, and Spartans in general, very much have a high, a larger religious inclination towards Ares, obviously,
Mhm.
and any of the other deities that might have a military or organized fashion. They are very much on that like lawful order kind
Mhm.
of organization.
I know his name is Xenophon, but is he very xenophobic or?
No, they. I guess, yeah, I'm just gonna do this all out of character because
Mhm.
I don't. But King Xenophon is not, though he technically has a larger portion of Spartan interests because, like I said, there's a higher hobgoblin population. He tends to be as equally just and hard as um, to his subjects as he is to the human subjects.
So egalitarian brutality. Got it. Like he's just like everybody sucks on the same level.
Yeah, kind of. He expects he's just one of those that expects a lot.
Mhm.
Um, and what not that King Menandros is a big softy either, but
Mm.
he definitely doesn't have as high of a militaristic standard for everybody. It's like, I guess if you had to, King Xenophon would be like, "Can you even lift, bro?"
Lift what?
That's what I'm saying.
Lift these gains.
At least Ma'al finishes. That is what it was, the way it was the last time I was here in Sparta.
Mm.
I do not know. The humans here are not particularly repressed in any fashion. They just don't have the numbers like the others do.
Are there any other groups in the city that have sway or influence that might be relevant? Any sort of political class or labor class?
The labor class tends to be human.
Hmm.
Political class, politics, I feel the Spartans leave politics to peoples like the Athenians.
Mm.
They don't care for it as deeply.
What about religious?
Aside from licking Ares' boots, that's about as far as they go. There is still the devout worship of Zeus, of course, he being the father. They have a very male-inclined society. Not to say that the Spartan women will not kick you 5 days down the road if you give them reason to.
Okay.
Phoebe will roll her eyes as Mal says, a male-dominated society.
There as Ma'al is, going over the history lesson, you see Xanthus kind of stands a little taller and a little prouder. Looks like he, on occasion, wants to say something, but then just doesn't. Thinks better of it, just doesn't say anything.
Well, Ares is already on our side, so that's a good thing. Zeus, I don't know how that convincing has gone.
Um, yeah, I would say Oretano, you are somewhat familiar with Ares, although you have had fewer dealings with him. It is mostly Hecate that you have dealt with when it comes to those within the fold. Okay. Okay. Xanthus does speak up when you do speak of going to the human quarter, basically, of the city. It is not that our presence will be unwarranted or given special attention, but once we move into the human quarter of the city, I would suggest being a little more vigilant.
Well, perhaps then we can try something different. Some of us could wander down to that area just to put eyes, not do anything, just see what we can observe, while the other half of us go and find this weaver, the daughter of the weaver.
Yeah, what time of day is it?
It's like just after the afternoon, I think, was from what I remember last time. So it's probably like, 2 or 3-ish in the afternoon.
Perhaps we can all go find the Weaver's daughter now. We are in a rush, but not such a rush that I think we have to split.
I was just saying that if some of us may draw more attention in the predominantly human quarter than others, that would be a way to have everyone be doing something useful. But I will defer to the group.
I am of two minds on this. I of course like us to be together. I could see the use of diverting too. Whichever you all want is okay by me.
Second.
Second what?
Yeah.
Motion.
Oh, you second the motion.
Yes.
Then with no strong opinions, we should go by Phoebe's suggestion, I suppose, and we will all go to the Weaver.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. So, Xanthus leans into the doorway of the home, walks past you guys, leans into the doorway of the home, and you can hear him shout out in in Spartan. And then looks back at you guys and then back into normal Hellenic common. That they will be taking their leave now, but then he and Davos will return later. So Tara comes out to the doorway with a wash rag and seems to be drying her hands. I hope everything was to your liking and that you do feel free to return anytime that you need some refreshment.
Thank you. You're the best kept secret in Sparta.
That we know of.
Nice. Okay. You head back out to the streets. Xanthus starts to look around. It just occurred to me that if Davos is going to speak with the king, I'm assuming he's going to come back here. I don't want to leave you without a guide. There are, that to my knowledge, 2 weavers here in Sparta that may be the ones that the Mistress of Secrets referred to. the name? What was the name again?
Lucert Cal.
It sounds like Kemetian. It's probably this way. And he like starts to go down the street, leading you towards the. Let's see. If you entered in from like the southern part of the city, you would be going northeast, the northeastern part of the city. And again, you make your way through a busy city space. Are you, I'm assuming, keeping vigilant?
Mm-hmm.
Okey-dokey.
Could I have done something before we left the safety of that little haven? I just wanted to subtly cast Mage Armor before we step back onto the street.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Neat.
All right.
As we walk, although we are staying vigilant, Themisto is going to let Cleo pull double duty, and so she can speak a little too. And she's gonna look to Oretono and say, Oretono, were you a follower of Dionysus before you understood your nature, or was it afterwards?
That's a good question. A little bit of both in a way. I understood one aspect of my nature before I ever left home to start wandering. And then once I started wandering, I learned of Dionysus and some other things that I can do.
Yes. I see. These other things, if we were to get into a confrontation, do you think that they could be used to harm us?
I think they would be extremely useful.
That's good to know.
They
Uh,
prevented more than one confrontation.
And how did you come to know Hecate?
Oh, well, I traveled all around the Aegean, some of the Mediterranean at large after I left Malta. Which is where I'm from originally. My family's been there for longer than anybody can remember. But at some point in my travels, I came across what did they call them? This is David buffering. One of the priories I stumbled across, and well, one thing sort of led to another. We're brushing over many, probably fully a decade here, but that led to me working with Dionysus and Hecate, and caused our paths to cross
So you've actually met Dionysus.
a couple of times.
It is good to know that this god of merriment is with us still.
He's an interesting teacher. Taught me a couple tricks.
What's your
Can
favorite?
only imagine.
I know, this is gonna kind of smirk.
This is where I'd be like looking over at Maal and see if the lizard can blush.
Oh, I see you. I see where this is going. You look over at Maal and she's more rolling her eyes at him and trying
Which
not
set?
to, the ones on her head. She's just like ugh. Just kind of like looking at everything. It seems
Nervous cough.
No, it is legitimately more a matter of like, ugh, I have heard this story before, kind of thing, and or it doesn't seem to be. There is a little bit of you can tell she's listening, but she's not wanting to admit that she's listening, because now it seems maybe there's a little more context for her that she didn't gather before.
And now she's gonna have to include him in one of her writings about her.
Now she's got to think about all the times that he didn't share something during pillow talk.
Oh my god. It is only a few blocks travel before you get to a building that looks somewhat different from those that are built around it. Whereas there's a lot of a whitewashed, like stucco to a lot of these buildings, mixed with the stone. This one is very subdued brown and sandy color to it. It's enough of a difference that it makes it apparent. And along the upper edges, there seems to be more of that Egyptian style, not necessarily like hieroglyphic storyline, but there's like these green reeds that kind of look like they make a border that goes around the building itself. And that is really the only distinguishing feature. It doesn't seem like it's like, doesn't have like a big wooden sign or anything that says, you know, Weaver, but it does have a very distinguished feel from the rest of the other little shops and craftsmen in this side of town. It is kind of like the craftsman's corner or quarter, if you will, but whereas a lot of them, they are, you know, you can see them actively doing their crafts work outside in like these little enclosed yards. This seems like it's just a building all on its own, and it's got like a fine, very fine linen doorway where it kind of blows inwards and outwards with the breeze as it blows past you. I already used the word. There wasn't another one that I can think of. Xanthus gestures to the building. He's like, this is one of the only other weavers on this side of town that might be who you are looking for. The other one is very much a local denizen of Sparta. This one's from out of town.
I'll step
Nice.
inside.
And based on the quality of the curtain, I can tell this is Weaver's home.
Make sure I have it right. This is like a shop. Like if we entered that curtain, it would
yeah,
be.
it's not like
Or did you do
Or did I just like walk into someone's front
yeah
door?
JRPG rules where you just sort of kicking in the door to their
I
stuff?
mean, usually ancient place, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one and the same. Yeah, and
But
it does-
my intent was to like enter the shop door.
right. No, for sure. You enter into the. Let me change this up real quick. What should we do?
I guess it depends on how big of an operation she's got going on here. Is it just a family business, or does she have like apprentices and stuff? And then it could be a separate building and she lives somewhere else, I guess.
I have lost. Why is this? Oh, that's why. I was like, I'm missing a playlist. Where is? Okay, here we go. I'll play this one, and then we will turn the crowds down a little bit. All right.
Dreamy, can you do one favor for me? One
Yes.
thing. And you take this very seriously.
Uh
Give us your best. Yeah.
It's a fabric door.
oh.
Yeah.
As you step inside, there is the scent of incense that fills the air. A mixture of like a spice and some sort of reagents, perhaps. It is almost alchemical in nature. You see around you there is a dazzling lit space There are what looks like those. You ever seen those lamps that have like the multicolored mosaics?
Hmm.
It's like a very, well, we'll say primitive version of that. So it's like it's well put together, but in a lot larger fashion. So instead of like tiny little mosaic glass pieces, it's like slightly larger chunks of like diamonds and other geometric shapes. So they cast this really almost like disco ball kind of like light patterns to the surrounding space, but as it kind of like dangles back and forth, it kind of just shifts the light just enough, and the light bounces off of these rolls of fabric. Beautiful, sparkling, like it's like, I guess like the tinsel that you describe as in your hair. It kind of like looks like it's woven into these bolts of linen, so that you have these beautiful turquoises and reds and whites, but they kind of glimmer a little bit. This is a very fancy carpet slash fabric store, basically.
I think Phoebe can't help it, but she's gonna kind of reach up and like run the tips of her fingers across some of the fabric.
It is, needless to say, a very beautiful sight on the inside. There are some large cushy cushions that are on the ground. You can see what looks like papyrus scrolls that are at the side. Some of them lay open. You can see what looks like this does kind of look like hieroglyphics, but it almost looks like what you would imagine a ancient clothing catalog. It's just like, it looks like different designs of like dress and clothing on these very two-dimensional individuals. Opening as you step in and as everybody else steps in, you don't see anybody immediately. And then from around one of the back doorways, a large Aarakocran man steps forward. You see this beautiful, the beautiful plumage and feathers coming down his arms, as he kind of basically is wearing the Egyptian style tunic, so it's just like that lower half skirt. And some sandals. Well, no, not even sandals, because he's got,
Talents.
bird talons. His wings folded up behind him. He is a oh my god, what is the name of this bird? The ibis, I think is what it is. Cause it's not quite like stork, but kind of like stork, if I'm remembering my birds correctly.
Very it's like graceful lines, but also like angular.
Yes.
Yeah.
He could have some other strappies on his talons if he wants to. You know,
It's a
some
little-
kind of like quasi sandals just to look nice.
It's like the wraps that go around the leg, but then don't go anywhere. They don't have
Yes.
the base. It just looks like he's got his feet wrapped. I'm trying to remember this guy's name.
Bob.
No.
Bob.
as he comes in. Guests and travelers, welcome. My name is Annemer. How may I help you today?
Chat.
Put it in chat. Got it. Yes.
That's how you can help.
Omni-Man? Yes, it is Omni-Man.
Oh, I was going with anime.
That's kind of more what I heard, but that's like, look at these prices, Mark. Think.
All right. There you go. Annemer. What were you gonna say, Laertes?
Oh, considering what we've learned and what Laertes has been able to infer and subsequently been confirmed by Hecate, The idea that harpies very likely started out as something close to what he is.
Mhm.
And given the encroaching darkness that's effectively epicentered around Sparta right now, he doesn't say anything, he doesn't show it, but he is thinking about how sad that whole thing is. Wow, what a cruel waste it is.
He gestures out to all of the wares that are on the tables and hanging from spindles that are inset into the walls and ceiling. So you have like, it almost looks like towels that kind of just fold over. It's a beautiful display of a bunch of things.
Yes, we were actually looking for someone, but did not know if she was here or not.
She? And what is the name of this individual that these travelers that have come into this humble
Sir.
lodge?
Sorry, he was asking our names.
No, he was just asking
Okay.
the name of who you were. He's
Gotcha.
being very elaborate in his speech.
Usat Cal. Am I saying that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Usurt. You look for Ursut. She is
You
not.
know her.
She is my daughter. There aren't many who seek her. I assuming you are guests from far away then.
Yes.
He gets a little more serious.
Marpe, the beard keeper, told us we should seek her out.
Yes, she would. Well, then I suppose the show doesn't have to be so elaborate. Friends of Marpe's are friends of ours. You come here seeking shelter, a place to stay.
Perhaps a bit of understanding as well, if that is possible.
It is. Though, perhaps, depending on your questions and what you seek to know, Usurt might have to answer some of them. But come with me. It becomes a lot, like before it was definitely grandiose, like, welcome to my shop! And now it's a little more, he just like, poof, brought it
Because he knows we're not going to buy anything now, and it's just like back to business.
back. Basically. He goes,
Your shop is beautiful.
thank you. Most of it is imported, but some of it we are able to craft here. We lack a lot of the tools and resources of home. But still, it is a joy to bring a little bit of home to these faraway lands.
When we have time, I should like to see the ones that you have crafted. Never owned anything so fine.
Oh, I would very much doubt it unless you had bought from me, and I would remember such a beautiful human face. You know, he looks up, he goes over to you and kind of like gently like runs a taloned little finger to kind of brush back a bit of hair from your face. A few feathers would make this beautiful face shine even more brilliantly. Perhaps I will find you some. Come with
I'm gonna
me.
kind of dart my eyes over at the Misto to see how she's reacting.
It's less
The,
it's less flirt and more just like almost fatherly,
Like a stylist.
Yeah, stylist. Yeah.
Did he just tell this strange girl that he's never met, you should feather your hair?
I mean, I guess In a way.
I mean, she's already got the gold tinsel in, so what's, like braiding in a couple of feathers, doing the
Yeah.
full, like, Bonnaroo.
You'll get a full Coachella look before this campaign's done.
But like Battle Coachella.
Yes.
Battle Coachella. Oh my god. That's
Mad Max
amazing.
with a better soundtrack that's it.
Wild.
The Misto enjoys that someone has said that her girlfriend is cute. She knew it, but she needs everybody else to know it too.
Of course. Okay. He leads you back the way he came. And then you realize as you enter this other room, it is set. Is it recessed? Is that the right word? It is set down into the ground a little further. And you can see that it's almost in that, like, this is going to be a really horribly nerdy reference. Almost in that, like, Tatooine home, like, style where it's just, like, it goes down, like, a floor or two. So even though from the outside it looks like just a smaller little square shop, it actually goes down a floor and then kind of has branching out rooms that branch out in different ways, kind of set into the ground. And you immediately feel a almost drop in temperature as it feels cooler now that you have kind of gone down a little bit, and not quite subterranean, but almost basically at this point. And in this in this larger space, you see that there are even longer rolls of fabric that are hung from the ceiling, whereas no ladders, which is kind of what you would imagine from a family of winged individuals. But you can see that there's a lot of stuff that's like on shelves that are inhumanly tall and hard to get to if you were to try and just reach for them. But there's like shelves of what looks like dyes. There's shelves of supplies, weaving supplies. You can see on this main floor there's various large weaving instruments, and then it looks like I said some other doorways that are all there's no like physical doors. They're all just like either some sort of drapery, whether it be for the most part cloth, a couple are beaded, but it is just a very open and free-flowing space. If you are looking for a place to stay, there are a few rooms on the western side here of the wall that are open and large enough to house all of you comfortably.
Thank you.
Yes, we may end up having need of these at some point, depending on how long we have to stay here in Sparta.
I wager it is a safe bet that you are here because of what is going on in the heavens.
The Misto will kind of tap her shoulder, her little like cloth pauldron on her dress that has the symbol of Apollo. He goes, yes, that's right.
We would very much like to see the sun in its full brilliance again.
It has made things a little dimmer, that is for sure. And there is a coldness to the air that wasn't there the last few days. Things are changing here in Sparta. And I'm not sure if it's for the better or not.
What has been happening?
I have not myself left the safety of the city, and I am, as you can tell, from being here, that I am far enough away from the outskirts that I consider myself quite safe. But I have heard the stories of those who have come from the outlying farms and villages, the monsters and creatures that have wreaked havoc and destroyed not only livelihoods but taken lives as well. If you are safely traveled here, I assume that you did not encounter any such beasts.
We have seen some of these things on their way. They are unpleasant. Not the type of thing to run into. I'm sure Oretono too has knowledge of these sorts of things.
I'm sorry, I did not get your names. And we'll just, for sake of expediency, you introduce
At
yourselves.
Themisto, yes. I'm sorry. I am studying to be a Pythia.
Apithia. And what does the great oracle of Delphi, or would be great oracle of Delphi, have to say about what is going on now?
It has been some time since I have been back to Delphi, but I am sure she is administering advice to all those who seek it. As for myself, my advice now is and that although these times are difficult and the light is dim, that in such dim light we must stand closer together to be able to see each other. So that is what we should focus on.
I see. Well, I pray that your presence here enlightens that which has grown dark in Sparta.
As do we. For the time being, smudging a bit of your cloth with charcoal for Nix could potentially be something that you would want to do.
I will do what I can. I assume, being friends of Marpe's, that you are members of her little band of do-gooders.
Something like that. I was meaning to ask, what is your connection to Marpe?
The humble weaver of a daughter that has she is a special one. Her and Marpe have spoken from time to time. My daughter does not quite follow the ways of, traditions of my people or my family. She weaves her own ways. Much akin to you, he looks over at Themisto, though she has never had any formal training in the oracular abilities.
Well, this is something. I would like to meet her.
And you shall, once she returns.
And she left the city, or is she simply about to them out?
She is hopefully within the city, but she is a curious one. I don't know how, and forgive me for presuming, how your talents work, Pythia to be. She too has visions, but they come at strange times. She prefers the sound and company of people. She seems to be able to focus more there than she does in the silence.
to answer your question, that stands in contrast to my wife. I do not choose when I receive a vision, but often it is in a moments of ritual or contemplation or respite.
I suppose it is something similar then. Though it seems to happen in random fits. My daughter is blind. She cannot see with her eyes. Yet her talents allow her to move safely. And there aren't many in the city who would harm a blind beggar girl. It is for some reason the noise of the city centers that calm her senses. Once she returns, hopefully soon, it will be, she will be eager to meet you, I am sure.
And us as well.
Is there anything that you require?
I think we're imposing on you as it is.
No, nonsense. It was Marpe who helped my daughter. I owe her and the rest of the fold, I believe it is called, quite a great deal. Thus I offer sanctuary and a place to put your heads down. A place to roost, if you'll pardon the expression. But please, feel free to come and go as you need. We have visitors here from the homelands quite often, so your coming and going will go unnoticed. There are always people about, but they never come this far back. I will be upstairs if you need anything.
Thank you.
With two quick flaps goes up the length of the stairs to the doorway and goes back into his shop. And as you, for the moment, set your things down in these rooms, these alcoves of spaces, and they are indeed a deep set into the side. You begin to wonder how far he has tunneled into these into the side streets and buildings, as they are well constructed and crafted. This is not just a like, oh, I'm building an underground bunker. Like, this is like artisanal like shapes and
While it's very well built and everything, which I was assuming,
yeah,
but did he do this without a permit? So it's like underneath someone's, staircase in their house across the street kind of thing?
it probably does extend into the neighbor's yard, as it were. So yeah, so we'll say that there are like these two side rooms that, like I said, are well furnished, have a lot of reclining couches and divans. It's a very like relaxed throw pillow kind of couture that's here. All of very fluffy
Harem chic.
Yeah, harem chic. Exactly. We'll go ahead and go on break there. and we will come back to you guys doing whatever you're gonna do next. Hijack a stallion and pistol whip someone doing it. Oh my gosh, yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do next, Galil. We are going to hijack a stallion, and then there's going to be a chariot chase, all 5 stars. Might even get a trebuchet involved or something. I don't know.
So with 5 stars, do you just get all 300 coming after you? Or,
Yep.
them and their digitally painted abs.
Exactly. Oh goodness. All right. Well, Oretano, welcome to Age of Myth.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing what else goes down here in a minute.
Thank you for giving me an NPC to antagonize.
This is so good.
Bill,
Oh, we're gonna find Oretano sneaking out of Maul's bunk in the morning.
No, worse, the other way around. She's doing that like snake tail, sort of like swish swish of shame.
Oh no. All right, we'll be right back, guys. Okay. We back. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Alright. So, you currently find yourselves in the quasi-underground compartments of Amnemer. A Aarakocra ibis, ancient Egyptian, so to speak, who happens to run a weaver's shop filled with imported treats, mostly of the woven variety, here in the crafter's quarter of ancient Sparta. You have met Auretono, a fellow member of the Fold, a person of intrigue, you could say, and a high amount of annoyance to your dear old historian, Grandma Lizard. As you have spoken to him, he having been sent by Hecate to come here and kind of investigate some of the members of the cult of Phobos. He seems to have come across an individual by the name of Orcos of Cordion. Someone who seems to be stirring up some trouble in the human quarter of Sparta. What are you guys going to go do now?
What shall we do? Shall we go looking for Orcos? Or wait until we can speak to who we were sent to meet?
Quick question, Aaron. Which of our hobgoblin bros is out trying to meet the king for us?
Davos.
Davos. Well, we should maybe go back to Soteris to see if Davos has made it back. And from there, see what we want to do.
That is sensible to me.
Okay.
Hmm.
Ma'al is getting comfy in her, her spot. All of this traveling, I think I'm going to lay down for a bit here, if that is all right with you.
We need you well rested so you can verbally spar with Oritano when we come back.
If I were to try and verbally spar with Oritano, he would die. But I do not worry about the ravings of young lunatics. Not really. Which she like says it, but all her actions kind of speak otherwise up to this point.
I'm thinking about the fact that we have had every conversation.
Try not to get into any dramatic trouble while I am not present.
Oh, that I cannot promise.
We'll make good notes for you.
Then, yes, please do that. I trust your penmanship over scribblings.
Well, shall we?
Okay. You go back to Soteris.
As we walk, I want to ask Oritano. So what did you do to make her hate you so?
You know, and he'll like lean in and speak sincerely. I really never could figure it out. As far as I can tell, she just doesn't like me.
Did you move some of her squirrels without asking?
Don't think so. If I did, I'd probably put them back.
I bet it wasn't the way she liked.
She's very particular.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long since I've seen her. She is very good at remembering a grudge.
How long has it been?
How long has it been?
Just about to ask. You don't seem that old yourself.
Like 5 to 7 years.
Okay, you see,
Like a week.
Joe was wondering if maybe he was already in the extended lifespan part of
That's why I was asking.
perfectness. Yeah.
Oh, so you met her when you were quite young.
Yes.
You
And
probably
I
said
s-
something smart and it got on her nerves then.
That does seem like something that I would do, especially then.
I've just met you and I can already pick up on that.
You were using any of her scrolls for a bit of loose writing of your own?
Oh no, I would never write on something so boring as a scroll.
So you probably said something like that and that's why she hates you.
A picture is beginning to form.
It's quite entertaining to have her so mad at you.
Well, I'll have no trouble keeping that up.
I look forward to it.
Walking through the city, it is starting to get darker as the afternoon is setting in. You see the moon-like orb that is the sun as it starts to fall into the horizon. And you can see the shadows growing longer. The darkness creeping in on every corner. It is
Looking
not-
into the
Oh, go ahead. No, finish. Go ahead.
just looking into the orb, Phoebe's gonna take a deep breath, and it's everything within her not to let light out. Like everything in her is like screaming to show light and show that it's not gone, but she knows she can't.
You see that city guard, city officials are beginning to set out large, almost, I guess they're in the form of like the braziers, but they're almost like somewhere between a brazier and like a fire pit. They're these large like cauldrons where they can put wood into, and it burns brightly, but not as brightly as you would imagine, and it starts to get a little. There is definitely a heat that is growing within the coolness of the air as you are walking along the streets and you're passing by all of these torches and these mini bonfires. You get so much heat coming from all of it, right? That it's kind of odd, and there is this like breeze of cool air, but then it feels so hot because of all of the fire that is everywhere, even if it isn't as bright as it normally would make the cityscape around you. Kind of similar to was it Carpantha that you just left, right? No, that's not right. Anyway, the city you just left, I think it was Carpantha.
I believe
Yes,
it was.
There is that odd, like, nervous energy that the city has. It's being a bigger city than the previous one. There is that, like, buzz to the air of a little bit of anxiousness as see the setting of the sun and the darkness that is quickly encroaching. I'm trying to use words here that instead of the simple speak. But you make your way back to Soteras. What were you gonna say? Go for it.
Oh, just as we were walking through, because we've had a long rest since I've done this last time. I believe, right? Because we stopped at that little homestead. Did we have a long
Yeah,
rest between?
we spent the night in the
We said
homestead.
okay. Now that we're in the city proper and we're basically at the epicenter of some of this, I don't remember if we discussed if he can do this subtly or if he requires like to do some very outward gesture to do his like Phobos sense or Belduran sense or whatever we were calling it.
I would say it's probably not like it's not a sparkly show, but it does
Mhm.
require you to kind of like focus, and
Mhm.
there probably is a little bit of a somaticness to it, but it's not
Okay.
like it's not
I'll-
going to be grand gestures. You know what I mean?
Okay, so just for the sake of argument, which of the two buildings was in like closer to the center of town?
The Weavers would be the northeastern side. Soterra's is more southeastern side.
So it's kind of doesn't really matter then. That's what you're.
Yeah.
All right, I would have done it then just at the Weavers just before we left, just to try and get a ping.
Okay. And it's a mile?
Half mile. Actually, no, better idea. I'll do it at Soterra's.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say, when you get there, Davos has not returned yet.
Okay.
So you do have a moment. Xanthus goes back, asks Soterra for to see if Davos has returned. And while he goes and talks to her, we'll have you do
Mhm.
that. You reach outwards with this sense. You don't get anything in the immediate vicinity.
Okay. So within a half mile, I think is what we said it was. Yeah.
But you focus on the outward, and it's kind of a little bit of a relief, considering how dark some sections of the city were. Like there were Crafters Quarter, pretty well lit. This way you traveled down the eastern side, there were pieces here and there. That we'll say that this is kind of more of like the Hobgoblin side of the city. Seems to be more the eastern side. There are definitely sections that aren't as lit than others, and so it kind of makes you a little nervous considering their affinity towards the dark. But there doesn't seem to be anything within that range as you're sitting there. After a moment, Xanthus comes back out. I have told Mr. Soterra that if Davos returns, that he is to go and await for us at the Weaver's place. If you wish to continue on, or if you wish to stay here and await for his return. I just don't know how long it might take if he has to make a full report on everything that has happened to a previous unit.
Well, if he knows where to find us, I don't know about the rest of the group, but perhaps it is best we start to look into the Sorkos.
Misto, I don't want to go without you. But are you alright going to investigate Orcos?
Yes. In the past, I would say that even as an act of deception, it would not be right to pretend to deny the God which I serve. But I think, given the circumstances and everything that we know, it will be okay.
Phoebe's gonna step in and kind of cradle Themisto's chin in her hand and whisper, Abingwul, you give me courage. Which is ancient Greek for my love, for those at home. And then give her a kiss.
Give me courage as well. What was that word that you used?
I'll type it because I'm sure I'm pronouncing it really terribly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I got few more. Shall I say that back as well?
in universe because we only haven't speaking Greek. That's the first word that's passed between us that we've ever actually understood because everything else has been English.
Because it's all been Greek.
Oh, they are in a relationship.
I thought so.
I thought they were just really good friends.
And they were
Some
roommates.
say they were still roommates.
That's what I wrote down. No, it's down. Roommates.
Yeah.
So were you and Maal roommates or
Oh,
out of
no.
character, by the way? Out of character.
It's better to leave it a mystery.
Mm.
God. Okay. Xanthus seems to like tighten some of his armor a little bit and shifts it, makes sure that it's on snugly. Well, I am ready.
Well, let everybody follow me. I'll take us there. And let's try not to stick out too much.
You cross through the southern sections of the town. The southern parts of the town kind of have a little more of the being that it's closer to the southern entrance of the city. There's a couple of shops. There's a couple of it looks like more mercantile kind of vibe. There's a little more of the open bazaars. Most of those marketplaces are now closed or are in the process of closing as the merchants are putting up their wares. You can see a lot of empty stalls, empty crates and things that would normally be filled with merchandise are now empty as they are loading them onto their various pack animals and heading back to their homes. You have noticed the larger hobgoblin presence, larger Spartan presence, as it were. And now you are beginning to see more of the human side. There's not too much of a difference as far as like the construction of the buildings or the layout of the neighborhoods themselves. It does seem very uniform across the different boroughs and quarters and neighborhoods of the city. But you just see the general difference in the presence of individuals. There are less hobgoblins here and more humans. The humans do seem to wear more, not necessarily sackcloth here, but they definitely do look a little on the not as well off side. There's a lesser presence of the military forces here or guard. There's still occasionally, like you can see this Spartan army, like the guard posts and such, though they are more intermixed between human and hobgoblin versus more majority hobgoblin that kind of sticks to the hobgoblin side. It is not long before you see a small fountain square in about 30 or so individuals that seem to be gathered around this fountain square where you can hear an individual speaking. Do you approach the crowd or just kind of try and find a way to what am I trying to say? Trying to find a way to like
my
scout it
image
out.
for this is a little bit of full circle,
Mhm.
where at the start of the campaign we were all dispersed throughout different parts of the crowd, but we were meant to be there, and I enjoy and feel free to correct me on this. I just enjoy the idea that we've sort of broken off a little bit in pockets to approach from different angles, so we're all not clumped in a suspicious group
Oh, it's completely
and just
fine.
sort of listening. If anybody has a different thought.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'll go with Cypress because I like that symmetry.
And I'll go with the Misto.
I'll be
New
here.
kid, yon yon.
No, I'll hang kind of closer to Themisto and Phoebe than I will to Cypress and Laertes.
In that case, Xanthus will probably go closer with Laertes and Cypress then. So it's kind of 3 and 3.
Let's write that down.
Yep, same. So I don't forget who is where.
So when you hurt us, you'll know who.
I'm doing no such thing. Oops, that's Oratone. That's another O. Wrong name.
I actually spelled it.
That's my backup band, the Oratones.
The Oratones.
Okay. I did not set up my quick draw map. So let me see.
Oh, goody. I guess that means we don't have to fight tonight.
Yeah, what map? There's no reason there would be a map here. Look.
So
Yeah,
we'll
Violence,
just
you
say
say.
Our plan's gonna work. We're gonna convince them we're evil.
there's the fountain in the center of this like small square, right? And like I said, there's about 30 to 40 people that are gathered here and around. You were coming in. How do I put this? Do I have it? No, I don't. I thought I did set it somewhere where I could reach it if I need to, but I did not. Just north to south, like top to bottom, left and right, in your own paper, as you will. Oh yeah, I could just use paper, the old-fashioned style. What am I even thinking? Oh my gosh, I'm big dumb.
No.
Paper.
In
Listen,
2024?
I know, paper. What? Listen, what is a session without Mapcam? At least once, right?
No session at all.
so angry. It is garbage. If
I
you ask me.
said during one of the first streams I saw on this channel was map cam is best cam.
This is true.
We love Mapcam.
And that suck up is why you're still here.
I think my suck was that I think my suck up was the fact that I showed up on time.
Woo! 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 Shots fired. It's okay. Nobody from that time is here right now, so we're going to.
Oh, sweet. Then I'm a shoo-in, because the only person who was here when I showed up is Aaron.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Weird. That means Aaron won't be here in a bit. According to that logic. I guess it's your game now. Okay.
Shit.
Wait, why is this not? Start video, I said. Reach.
It's
Oh,
trying.
streams.
Go.
Paper.
Paper. Old-fashioned
Ooh.
paper. Okay.
That's not old fashioned. That's like tea state. Look at you. You don't even have regular paper.
I know. All right, so we're gonna put.
That's actually 150 years old.
Yes, it actually is.
It is ancient Greek. He stole it from a museum.
Yeah.
As I do have a reference image for this, but I am not I'm too lazy to do this. This way. We're just gonna go like this. And there's oops, this a little more narrow than I anticipated, but that's fine. And then reach under. Yes.
While we're going up and filtering through the crowd, Oratono's going to, briefly talk to Themisto and say, thank you for your willingness to engage in this deception for this purpose. I think there's a potential for a very high payoff here, and sort of give Themisto a little pep talk and give you a bardic inspiration. Just take a D8.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Need to mark that off.
Okay.
Are the blocks buildings?
Yes. So, like I said, it's a small square. And that center, the center little blue circle is basically the fountain. Oh my god, why are words so hard? I'll use a pencil. Okay, so you are coming in from this direction. Oh, hold on. As you guys are seeing everything, I should do this. All right, there you go. Okay, so you are coming in from this direction. So there's north, where the crowd is basically loosely gathered like this. Makes it look very much like a blue yolk egg.
Yummy.
Yeah, ish, something like
He's
that.
the powerhouse of the rebel.
All right. So where would you like to be? Just put quadrants. Like I can just wherever you want to set up. There's the two groups.
Hey, gang, how do you feel about the south quadrant?
Love it.
South quadrant.
Favorite one.
Over here somewhere.
Yerp.
Okay. So we'll put we'll make you
Team lesbians.
A right there. All right. B group. Where are you going?
Team
Cypress, how are
brain
you?
muscle.
Sorry, what was that?
Team brain muscle.
Brain muscle.
Cypress says in character.
Okay. I mean, out of care, I do want to say one thing. The amount of times that Cypress and Laertes have been partnered up has worked out very, very well. So it's a great partnership. I'm thinking like northeast, potentially just sort of behind things. I don't know how you're feeling about that. Like,
Love it.
how's our vantage point from there?
I mean, whoever is speaking is. We're gonna put them right up here.
Oh, okay. And then how high is that sort of fountain? Is it kind of just
It's
like a big like shallow pool, or
It's
is this like
basically
on a
it's a
plane?
Like
pool.
with a statue.
no.
Yeah.
It's just a pool.
Okay.
But it looks like it's fed by a spring. There's like a little bit of a bubbling thing in the center. But
Okay.
it's not like it's shooting water or anything. It looks like it's a spring kind of.
Can we see him properly from
Yeah.
that vantage point? Okay.
He's standing on the edge, so it's like about a 2 foot
Okay.
like lip that he's kind of standing on.
If that's the case, then maybe more directly to the west rather than
Over here?
north. Yeah,
On the side somewhere. Okay.
like more at the periphery, but yeah. I don't know how you're feeling about that.
From this. Oh, hold on. Let me open this up again. Putting you there, you're probably about like. This would be about 20 feet from where he's at,
Okay.
give or take. And
Oh,
Team A would be probably a bit closer to 35, 40 feet. What were you gonna say?
I was just. How do you feel about that, Cypress? You get to be like that danger close, or you
Yeah,
gonna be further away? Okay.
sounds good.
Okay. Why?
Yay, impromptu map cam. It's a good night.
Listen, we just got very sidetracked with trying to put together everything and clear everything away that I forgot some key elements. But don't worry, if they are needed next time, then they will be ready for next time.
Hydrogen, potassium, forgot them all.
Yeah, forgot all those key elements. Gosh, how could I?
And that's the nucleus.
Okay, that is a little better. From
I
my
mean,
first
we all
lesson.
remember what happened last time that Laertes gave a physics lesson with hydrogen, so maybe it's
On a
best we
grand
don't
scale.
talk about that.
We don't talk about hydrogen. No. Okay. All right. You see this crowd, mostly human. Interspersed amongst them, there are also a few hobgoblins, but it is a mostly human crowd. You see like maybe one Triton somewhere. A man wrapped in rags in what looks like a dirty robe stands on top of the edge of this fountain. The buildings around here are a little more on the rundown side. But this man in black, and these robes are almost blackened, and it looks like either blackened because of dirt or they are faded and had been blacker at one time. It's kind of hard to tell which direction that this is going from one direction to the other. There are tinges of red or copperish, bronzish tint to like the edges of his sleeve, the fringes at the bottom. It almost looks like he's gotten through like reddish mud or something that's just kind of been stuck to the edges of his clothing. And so, I say, listen well, children. The time grows short as the night begins to fall. This will be my last outreach to the people of Sparta, to the brave men and women of this humble city. The world's end draws near, and the veil between the worlds thins as the gods know their time is short, and what they fear is coming for them. Already we know of the fiends from the and abominations that stalk us day and night outside this city, hungering for the flesh and spirits of those who would wander into their jaws. But where are the gods? Perhaps they know that their time, as it draws short, these creatures will come for them too. So it is a chance to live now in joy for the little bit longer that we have. There is no reason to fear an afterlife in Hades, for there is only the here and now. Should you or us escape the fiends that lurk out in the darkness? Should we escape from their hunger? The hunger that the gods do not protect us from? Once this world comes to its end, will we have lived a full life? Why not live now? Live as you would. Those in power would tell you your place is in the dirt, in toil for those that gain from your work that you put into this city. The gods have seen it as such. They have seen to it that those in power would remain in power. I say, we say, it is not so. Take what you desire. Live as you wish. For what is chaos but the freedom to live in elation? Embrace pleasure for pleasure's sake. Care not for the rigid society these gods have imposed upon us. They will soon give way to fear. And who is going to save them? No one. Nothing. Why do we follow their rules? Nothing matters but what you desire. They are not the ones feeding you. it is us. We feed you. You see, as he speaks, there are two people on either side. And they could bend down and they take up these large baskets and they start going. And you can see that the people that are pushed closest to him are definitely the most destitute, you can say. And they immediately start going, yes, yes, yes. They start reaching out, and the two individuals, a very, very beautiful woman and a very, very beautiful man, begin handing out like these almost like little sliders. It's just like pieces of bread and what looks like little pieces of meat as they're just like handing them and giving them two things. Cypress, I think you were the first one to raise your fingies.
Yes, I have messaged you.
Oh. Okay. Beep boop beep boop beep. No.
It's not. With never use this. Would Cypress be able to tell if most of the people present would have an idea of what is going on if he tries this?
You have not the slightest idea of what you're talking about myself. What do you mean?
If Cypress attempts to use this
Oh, I mean,
thing,
you do have to remember that most people don't have abilities. Any sign of anything is going to be viewed as a big deal, if that makes sense. Anything flashy is going to be really flashy for them.
okay, carry on to
Okay.
what Phoebe is wondering about.
Phoebe.
Thank you, though.
Phoebe's going to squeeze the mistress' hand and then take a couple of steps away from her companions, so it's not quite so obvious she's with them. She's going to call out, "And who gives you your gift of prophecy? How do you so confidently speak on when the world is going to end and what the gods fear? Did they give you powers?"
Turns. No. The gods have not spoken to me. But I have spoken with the one who once was amongst them.
Phobos.
He smiles ever so slowly. Yes. Laertes and Loretno, are your
It wouldn't be interrupting this.
No,
It would
okay.
just be a
I
very quick aside.
okay.
Mine would. Oh, go ahead.
It's just that as the food was starting to be passed out a little bit, it would have been a very quick lean in whisper to Cypress. Excuse me. Take the food. Do not eat it.
Cypress will attempt to just, as the wave of food might get past his way, or as the basket nears him, to
Okay. Yeah.
take a loaf, take a
we'll
bit.
say as going your direction around, like basically moving from like this way and around, and then moving this way and around. The crowd kind of mills. They don't really go too far into the crowd, but the girl is closest to you, so it's basically like difficult terrain because you're having to move through, everybody's kind of like pressing forward with this free food that everyone's kind of like and you can see the people who are eating it, they're just like, it's like eating good barbecue. They're just like, this is so good kind of thing. Eventually you are able to get a little piece of both, and they're handed over to you. Okay. All right. No, what were you gonna?
Just in reaction to Phoebe's line of inquiry, I would like to use a sorcery point to subtle spell cast detect thoughts and listen to the surface thoughts of this preacher or whomever while this questioning is going on.
Ooh. Okay. Sorcery point to sorry, not sorcery point. Detect thoughts on Orcos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, take it on me, but I'm going to listen to.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Surface thoughts. There's no roll for that one, right?
Nope.
Beautiful. Make sure.
I wish I would have worn my other robes.
I'm just trying to see what. Okay. Surface thoughts are curious. Is it like actual thoughts or is it like the feelings? I don't ever remember how that.
It's the actual thoughts.
Ooh, nice.
What is most on its mind in that moment?
Curiosity, certainty. He's wondering who is so brave as to speak out as no one has before. So the curiosity, that was the immediate curiosity, is just like who would not necessarily question him, but he has been very, no one has been stood up for on the side of the gods. And then the fact that she asks about Phobos specifically, as he has not mentioned it, he has now even more curiosity, and then a little bit of knowing. Just like, she knows something, but he doesn't quite know what it is that she knows. She's just like, but knows that she's in the know, so to speak.
Well, it lasts for a minute. I'm going to keep doing it.
All right. Freaking Nazi. Gotta be. Can we wrap this up?
It's a bubbling fountain. It's
I
just-
know. I was like, that makes sense. It is a fountain, so.
That was actually a speech tool of Tony Blair. It was to keep that energy going so that you had a sense of urgency during your speech, so you sounded more fired up.
Amazing.
Renowned orator Tony Blair.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Renowned, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Renended.
Making up words.
Phoebe. Anything else you were gonna say with that to that, or does it, you just?
Does he say anything in response?
No, he just said yes.
You're a priest of fear.
I'm a priest of reality.
Is it you who tries to darken the sun, or do you merely take advantage of it?
I am not one of the gods. I would not have such power over the celestial things. That is supposedly the realm of Apollo. But where is he to brighten our skies?
He is still in the sky. You can see him right there. Just because there are storm clouds does not mean the sun has vanished.
Storm clouds. Do you all see storm clouds? Or do you see the power of the sun diminishing? As I see the power of the sun diminishing. You can see hear the crowd start going.
That specifically, no actual.
Yeah,
words.
that
they're all-
specific noise.
That's
they
the
all-
surface thoughts.
Now there's a crowd.
It's not a real crowd without Walla.
Yeah. There's you see amongst them and heading towards you the young man with a basket of provisions is now like almost out. He comes
When the night comes, we do not fear for the sun. Do you have anything to say? There is nothing more Greek than debate in the public square.
The night comes for us all, sister. I do not fear it. I
Nor
embrace
do
it.
I. I do not fear it because I know that the light returns.
Until the day that it does not,
I've yet to see that day.
but it comes. Enjoy your life now. There is no need to fear the wrath of the gods that do not care what happens to us any longer.
What wrath? Again, you speak so confidently about the gods, yet you say you don't know them, you don't speak for them.
We all know the stories of how they brought the old world down. Their sins are upon us now. It is only a matter of time before those sins consume them.
I know it is a luxury to travel. I have been outside of Sparta, and the sun still shines just as bright. Again, just because a cloud may hover over Sparta does not mean that Apollo has failed.
Then perhaps it is here, in this very place, that the world begins to end. Enjoy the food so humbly provided by humble hands.
I'm not hungry, and I would not take from those who are.
Such purity in words. What are you gonna say, Cypress?
Cypress speaks up and, raising his voice, calls out to the crowd.
I shuffle away.
Cypress will motion. Go get him. I don't know you. I too have gifts for the people. I have 2 gifts for each and every one of you here. No. The first, I have wealth. And those of you who are desperate and destitute, you are vulnerable to this demagogue. I can offer you 2 better things than this bread and poison he offers you. One is a gold piece to each of you. Buy bread for weeks. Buy shelter. Last. Survive. But in order to obtain this, you must heed my warning, which is my second gift. He offers you nothing. I am familiar with this kind of talk. He claims to speak for the people. Are you sure of that, sir?
I speak to the people. I do not speak for them.
Who do you speak for?
Myself?
Just you.
Yes. Do you see anybody else here? I speak of my knowledge, and I give freely that knowledge.
Cypress will channel divinity, peerless athlete.
Okay.
So with a flash of gold, he grows about an inch taller. All his muscles tone and his hair flows back. I speak with authority. But I, people, am one of you. He is not.
Me? How am I not one of the people?
You are very evasive with your dubious words. I do not represent the gods, people. I represent goodwill, kindness, and justice. I offer you money and a warning. He and the people that he represent, if people they are, do not seek your interest, they seek your desperation. He offers you crumbs. And they may be poison, for all we know. His words certainly are. If you would hear reason, Cypress will hold up a bag of gold pieces. One for each of you, for you to go home.
There is one of the people that is close by says, he has been feeding us for days now. There are so many mouths to feed in Sparta, it is only a matter of time before the food runs out. And
I
then finally,
understand.
Orcos says, as I said, those in power, those with wealth, those with obvious gifts, surely this boy had no premier life with his golden hair. I'm sure his parentage was completely normal. Not at all laced by the gods, not at all placed here. He offers you gold. I do not offer you gold. I purely offer you words. Words to the wise. And you don't have to do anything. You come here of your own free will. You listen to the words that I have to say. We feed you. I expect nothing of you but to give you a good life for that which remains to us. If you wish to take his gold, by all means, take it. He is but one, and we are but many. You can see now suddenly the eyes of the people all turn to you. And there is a realization as they look amongst each other and they look to you. And it's that moment when you see in movies when the crowd begins to turn on the one individual as they now realize that there is more of them than there are of you. And you are this one golden-haired boy with a bag of gold.
Bag of money.
And you can see let's just say that for shits and giggles, there's like 5 individuals that are closest to you. They kind of just crack their knuckles as they look at you instead. Laertes, what were you gonna say?
I know Themisto had something earlier.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if that's still relevant.
You can go ahead first, Laertes.
Okay. I'm looking at, or for the people who are looking anywhere but us, I'm wanting to see who's acting more like a sentry,
Okay.
who's paying attention in all the opposite directions, if anyone.
Make a perception check for me.
Okay. Can I argue for advantage because I know what I'm looking for and using these 3 speeches as intent? Either way, it's a dirty 20 for now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm looking for the people who aren't acting like part of the crowd, not part of the mob. Maybe a mob, but not part of this mob.
you said a dirty 20.
Mm-hmm. Unless I get advantage, I'll try again for higher.
Where the heck did this go? Okay. There are, well, everyone's eyes kind of, the attention shifts back and forth as Phoebe has spoken, as Orcos has spoken, and then now as Cypress has spoken. But the only ones who don't look to you basically kind of miss it at first, and then you notice that the only ones who don't look at Orcos, and that would be the two that are handing out the food. And then there are 3 others that are interspersed close to Orcos. They're not like directly a front line, but they're maybe like 2-3 rows back of like the compressed people, and they're like in different spots. But they don't ever look at Orcos. They're kind of just looking at whoever's like the between Phoebe and
Okay. Are they dressed like normal people?
Mhm.
Like they look like they're part of the desperate rabble?
right. I would say probably except for
The 2 acolytes.
the 2 acolytes.
The ones that are meant to be seen.
And their robes still look almost as rough trodden as Orcos does, but in physical appearance though, they are pristine. Themisto, what were you gonna say?
Themisto is gonna go ahead and speak up too now.
Okay.
Trying to take advantage of this situation. And she will say, Speaker, and she'll be as loud as she can, I suppose, without screaming. I am a follower of Apollo, and you speak with a clarity that I cannot find right now in this in darkness. I look at the sun and I wonder where he has gone. I get no signs from him that he is going to return. And this girl speaks as if she knows him, but she also uses words. She invokes names that you seem to know. I must understand more about this. I find myself questioning, and it would be wrong of me not to seek answers. If you would have me.
Puts his hands together. Seems to think about what he's going to say. If you truly wish enlightenment, I can show you. We can show you. Come forward, child. And the crowd starts to part to allow you to walk forward. Without gesturing, without saying anything else, it's almost as if like they just kind of go.
Hey, here we go. Themisto is gonna walk forward.
You walk forward and you get up to him, or close enough to him. You're like within 10 feet. And the crowd, like, almost it parts the way for you, but then as you pass, it just kind of like, they kind of just fall into line behind. They kind of get a little close. You see their eyes, like they're looking at you intently. Some of them kind of like try and peer. I'm assuming you still have your hood up, or do you have it pulled back?
Heads up.
Okay. Yeah, some of them kind of will peer, and they're just kind of like, there is not some who catch sight of you. They don't react in a way where they're like taken aback or gasp, but there is a little bit of mixture of awe and surprise, but there's no like fear or anything. They're just like, oh, like, and they kind of start whispering amongst themselves as you step forward. Phoebe, do you stay where you're at?
But Phoebe is sick to her stomach.
Orette, no. Do you stay where you're at?
I do, I think.
Okay.
We're like, what, 30 feet away from this?
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
close enough.
Laertes, what do you want to say?
Actually, I think we're going into the same idea where I'm slowly trying to filter away from this, but still trying to keep within about a 30 to 40-foot range and keeping sight on both Themisto and Orkos. So that if I need to do something, that's what I'm seeing, but I'm also keeping track of the 5 people in the crowd that are the unknown variables.
Okay.
As Themisto is approaching, she will touch briefly the side of her sword, not grasping it, as to be not threatening, but just lay a hand on it. That's her divine focus. And she'll think to herself and to the gods, Apollo, Gaia, whatever he tries to show me, take me to the source. And she's going to attempt, thinking that he might try to do a herald-like vision to her that they experienced on the island, that she's going to try to wrest some control out of it and figure out what the heck is going on with this sun thing.
Okay. You get where there is like no space. You can see that there are several other baskets of bread and what looks like canisters or clay vessels that have like the cooked meats, and you can smell it, and it smells deliciously sweet. You can see the 2 acolytes come back around now with an empty vessel, an empty basket as they set it down to grab more. You see the woman kneel down and grab a piece of bread and a piece of meat. And she scoops it kind of like in the bread, almost like a little like taco-y kind of thing, and hands it to you. And you see her with like the most earnest and like kind expression. Just says, "Here you go."
Boy, this is so... All right. I will take this evil sandwich.
She doesn't even like, once you take it, she goes back and grabs the basket and the clay vessel and turns back to the people, and she's like, "Who has not fed yet? Who has not fed? Come forward. Please move aside so that others can come forward." And like, she just goes back to doing whatever she's doing. She looks over at you and just kind of like smiles. And the young man comes back over, empty tray and basket, puts it back, grabs something else, and starts going back amongst the people. Laertes, you see that those 3 individuals, they just seem to be kind of curiously looking at Themisto.
Mm-hmm. How are they grouped? Like, how far away from each other?
About 10 feet from each other, just kind of like
Okay.
one directly, kind of in a couple people back from Orkos, and then 2 on either side. Couple people
How
back
close
as-
are they? So it's about 10 feet from each other. How far
Uh,
away is this cluster from Orkos? Like
15
another 10,
feet.
15?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're
Got it.
basically almost like a front. You could almost imagine them being like a front shield in front of him, because behind him is the fountain, right? So they are like one person directly in front, one person on the side. You would imagine like guards, right? Like they would be implants in the group in there, just watching for
The
trouble.
plainclothes kind of deal in
You-
comparison.
You hear,
Hmm.
all of you hear, the marching of feet. And from the direction you guys were you came into this from, you can see that there is the flicker of torchlight as someone or like a small group of almost like a small legion of soldiers comes marching down the street. And on horseback, you see two individuals that are coming towards this group. You see what looks like a Spartan general and Davos.
For the first time in what feels like 10 minutes, Phoebe breathes.
Squad, Aaron. It's a squad. Yeah, fine, a squad. Coming down the street, you hear a voice yell out. Orcos! That is enough for one night. Disband your followers. You may gather again in the morning, but it is now late. And we do not need everyone gathered together to present such a tempting target for the things that are lurking outside in the dark. You can see Davos with him is kind of like scanning the crowd, and then he's like locks eyes with the Misto, and it doesn't take an insight check to know that he looks very concerned because you were like right there. But he looks worried, and he immediately starts scanning the crowd, and one by one he kind of like locks onto where everybody else is. The crowd starts to murmur, and Orcos just kind of doesn't say anything, just nods his head, looks at everybody else. Remember what I said, those in power. But go home for the night. We will speak again tomorrow. Go on. There is a hesitancy and a palpable it's not quite anger and it's not quite reluctance. It's like right in the middle, like resentment. There is a palpable resentment in the crowd as a gritting of teeth and a couple of really nasty glares, and the crowd begins to disperse.
Take some gold with you. Cypress remains where he's standing to see if anyone approaches him for that.
There is nothing but sneers and dirty looks given to you.
It's got to be food.
As we start to disperse, can I brush against the fountain and try to very subtly cast light on it and step away before pointing out?
You'll have to do a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
As you're
Because I want to say something. It's only an 11.
Orcos gets off the fountain. The acolytes both come up to him and they just stare at each other. They stare at him, and he just kind of nods. And they kind of look back into the crowd, and those three individuals, Laertes, that you saw come forward and gather. Mm-hmm. There's like only like 2 remaining of each of the baskets of food and platters, basically of meat. They begin to gather their things, and the acolytes lead them to a building that is like not, but like 2 blocks down.
Do any others reveal themselves in the crowd as things start to disperse and things get to reshuffle?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Orcos, there's we'll say there's probably like 4 or 5 individuals that don't disperse, that don't look like they didn't stand out at all, but they stand kind of close, and they come over to where Themisto is, and as Orcos comes to you, Themisto, he goes, "If you want to know more earnestly, come to the furrier shop. We will be waiting for you, sister. He walks. Gives one last look over his shoulder at the general, and then him and the acolytes and the others walk past. By now, I mean because by the time Phoebe to get up there, it's already starting to disperse enough. Because otherwise you're having to like push through people that are going now the opposite way because they're like going past you as you are going forward. You can still do it, but it's not a.
Is there anyone left to like?
No one's really paying attention to anything. I mean, there's people that are still in the. There's still people that are here, but they are now like backs turned to the fountain. They are like walking away.
Okay, well then I want to do it. Step away so I'm not right next to it. And I want to put, I know light is like a little cantrip, but I want to put as much as I can into it so the fountain glows. And once I've made a few steps away.
It's going to glow the moment you touch it. It's not a it's not a time release kind of thing.
I know, but I want to like quickly step away after I cast it, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm not being like, look over here, like.
It will be apparent that it was you. In the sense of like you touching the water, like because it will look more suspicious touching it and then quickly backing off than it would be,
Is anyone like looking?
Their attention is focused on the soldiers that have now broken up their thing, and or walking away. No one's. They're kind of, it's like a mob that's just broken up on the verge of being not good.
Okay.
You're still welcome to do it. I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
Appearances wise, it's gonna be like touch. Wah!
Then I'll stay by it. I'll touch it if no one's watching.
Okay.
Look. Apollo is still with you. He sends a sign. And then I'll start to walk away.
Orcos turns his attention back over his shoulder to look. And he just smiles at you. It's a smile that makes you sickly sweet smile on the inside. Almost scary.
The Misto's not with them, so I'm not as scared right now.
You watch where they go, Themisto. You see the shop. You see the acolytes open the doors as they lead 4 individuals that followed Orcos. The four that had stayed behind. And it's like not the building. It's like basically not this building, but it's like over this direction. You just watch them kind of go down this way into a building that's over here. The Spartan soldiers come up, like start to fan out around the area as they're kind of like just like checking on individuals, making sure that they are in fact leaving. Davos rides the horse over to where you were at and immediately jumps off. He comes up to you. Mistress, are you alright? You're muted. Or something. I didn't hear you at least. Oh, there you are.
Okay. I guess the gods intervened for a minute. But now my voice has returned.
Yeah.
Yes. I am alright for the moment. Unfortunately, I think this next piece I may have to do more alone than I expected. But I have been invited to see more of what Orcos has to say.
He looks back over his shoulder to the general, who is now dismounting from his horse and coming over to where you guys are. Are you guys gathering up again or staying separate?
Are they like gone?
Huh? Are they gone? But yeah, by this point, Orcos and his crew have already returned to their shop. And there's still people that are in the square, but they have now, for the most part, all like gone away.
I'm gonna stay separate since I spoke out.
There's this slight glowing pool of water now in the center.
That does buoy Themisto a bit.
I'm gonna find Oratono because we're the only two that didn't get involved in any way, and Xanthus, and more so just not necessarily be like in a clump as much as sort of gravitate a little bit as things are starting to disperse a little bit, and keeping an eye to see on who lingers, to see if it's more just a case of they're keeping watch or they just genuinely have nowhere else to go. Because that's also a real reality here.
It seems that some are just kind of those that linger is because they look like they're watching. It's not a like watching to report kind of watching. They're just wanting to see what all is going down with going to happen with the general and stuff.
Yes, the rubbernecking.
Yeah, basically, yes.
I'll kind of stand near-ish to Oratono without like facing the same directions, kind of like that sort of thing.
We
Or
sit
just
on
face-
two park benches that are
Yeah, yeah.
abutting each other.
That kind of deal. Just catch anything useful out of that.
Oh, few things.
I think we'll have a lot to talk about when we get back.
I think so too.
Cypress goes to wherever Phoebe is.
If Phoebe sees you approaching, she's gonna kind of subtly shake her head no.
He will pause for a minute, pivot, and walk away.
Themisto, you have the quote-unquote evil sandwich in your hand. What are you doing?
It's just Davos with me right now, or
just
is
Davos
the
at the
general
moment.
approaching?
General
Okay.
looks like he's giving some orders to some of the soldiers that are close by, but he looks like he's about to approach.
In the interest of protecting the chances I have, you may need to apologize to the general for me. I think it may not be a good look if Orcus sees me speaking to him.
I understand. I think. What are you going to do?
I don't know, but he knows more than he lets on, and I have a chance to get closer to it now. So that is what I have to do. Tell the general that we are with him to put an end to this unrest, and we could use his support, especially in the case that something happens.
He looks like he's like trying to come up with an excuse or something to tell you no. He's like looking like he's trying to think of anything. But he sees how everyone is kind of separated and not getting close together, and he's like, "Are you sure this is wise?"
I have never been more unsure of anything, but
His eyes
yeah.
get big. He's like, "Then why are you doing it?"
Because the Mother Goddess told me that if I am going to be who the future needs me to be, I have to make hard choices in pursuit of what is good. That is what I am doing now.
He just doesn't say anything. He just nods. The general starts to approach. he looks at you, and his face like says, "I am so sorry." And then he looks up again, and his face is like stony. "Move along, citizen. Move along."
And the Misto will dismiss herself, and she'll say, "Fine, I didn't want this anyway." And she will give Davos the evil sandwich. So we have a sample of the one in addition to Cypress's.
Pick
And
them too, but yeah.
He like takes it and it's like, ugh. He turns.
And, you know, Themisto, not really an actor. You can probably tell that she's a bit cut up about having to do this. But, you know, she's gonna do it. I'm a priestess, not a spy.
Damn it,
It's
Jim!
outside my normal skill set.
All right. Davos turns back to the general. He's like, General, like you can hear, as the last thing you hear, like as you walk towards the house.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Let's see who remains close to the general. Then do you? I guess now Davos looks to everybody else like, is it?
I'll make eye contact with Davos.
He's basically looking like he doesn't know who to approach or not to approach.
Where did Xanthus go?
Xanthus is behind you. He stayed with
Okay.
you the whole
Yeah,
time.
so if he's with me, I'll kind of just get that like up nod to Davos, like, yeah, we're cool, bro. Like,
He brings.
join the kids that didn't get seen.
Okay. Cypress, what are you gonna do? You also have evil sandwich. You are also muted. Or at least I cannot hear you.
Hmm.
Yep.
You were muted. Yep.
Yep. I cannot hear you.
Phone angry.
Nope.
It's like he's trying to communicate with us.
Okay, we'll come back to you in a second. Figure that out. Zoom says you haven't spoken in a minute. Phoebe, what are you doing?
Just hanging on the edge. I know Davos is heading towards the didn't open their big fat mouth crew. But does he make eye contact with Phoebe?
He did at first. You're one of the closest people there because
Okay.
basically they came in from here and kind of went there. I would say that right
Gotcha.
now, Laertes and Oretno are kind of like back on this side. Cypress being like over here still, so they're gonna kind of start just swinging around.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did.
Did you unplug and replug?
I did just now.
When in doubt.
Sorry, carry on.
What were you gonna say, Phoebe?
Just that her eyes are gonna dart to Themisto, and when they dart back to Davos, he can see panic in them.
Okay.
Cyprus definitely, at least as far as like people that Davos could interact with without spoiling some spy plot. Cyprus for sure could be approached.
Okay. I mean, he's not gonna approach you. He's walking over towards Laertes and Oretno now. But if you want to do anything,
Cyprus will, after being rebuffed by Phoebe, wanders for a moment for the people that he talks to about stuff, and he ends up finding Laertes.
Okay. Yeah, so you come back around to the other side.
Yeah,
um,
and
your I'm assuming your powers have shifted. It's only a minute, right?
uh, he'll probably cancel it at this point anyway. Yeah,
It is a minute. Okay.
that would make sense. Bonusing. 10 minutes.
Oh, it is 10 minutes.
But-
All right, so you're still glowing.
Yeah, he'll keep it up. Why cut it off anyway? But he kind of sheepishly, which probably looks especially odd considering his current Adonisic state,
Yeah.
asks Laertes,
Oh, my response would be to be walking away from the glowing being heading towards me so that I'm not seen with that right now.
"Oh, Cypress." Then
What I was trying
Halts
to
it,
do
yeah.
while holding this was that I was trying to get people to start filtering out of the square so that we could actually go have a conversation rather than just be like, let's be seen grouping up together here.
Cypress pauses and pivots and clearly just kind of wanders, and he will willingly turn his gold off.
Okay. All right. Davos and the general approach Laertes and Aridno. Phoebe, you were staying by the fountain as it's glowing, its light, which
Lasts for an hour.
I know, which is not as bright as it normally is,
Mhm.
and in fact is getting dimmer and dimmer, and it is not you. It is
So, like, as an above table suggestion,
Mhm.
just so everyone can feel like they're involved, I feel like the people who spoke out against Orcos don't really have to avoid talking to the law, because clearly there's already a bit of antagonism going on there, so, like, it's probably okay.
Yeah.
Of course, y'all do as you feel is needed, but I don't think it will, like, mess anything up.
That makes sense to me.
Phoebe, you're noticing this is getting absorbed.
Like into the fountain.
No, it's just like the moment you cast it, it was brighter. But the longer it's just on, it is slowly dimming. Make a perception check.
Only a 5. I'm rolling like shit tonight.
Okay. There's a lot going on, so it makes sense, actually. But you're just staring down at the water as it will, like, normally have this, like, pool of light sort of situation going on, and it's slowly dimming, and you're like, well, this makes sense. Light was dimming before. But now the more you're watching it, it's like watching a battery, like a flashlight, where the batteries are dying. It's slowly beginning to dim. And you start looking around, like, you don't see any immediate sources of the cause for it to dim. And it's not like it's getting absorbed by the water, it's just not as bright. And then you start realizing that the area around you is just getting darker, and it feels colder as now the sun is beginning to set more, and there are less people holding torches around here, so it's just kind of becoming darker and darker and odder and creepier somehow.
I'll start walking towards Davos, and as I do, under her breath, she's going to start praying. Apollo, keep her safe. Gaia, keep her safe. Just repeating that over and over until she gets to Davos.
The general looks over at the evil sandwich that is now going to just be what it's called, Um, it's not a po' boy, it's just evil boy. The evil boy that is in Davos's head, he just looks at it, he goes, I do not understand the general. I do not understand the hype. But those sandwiches aren't bad. He just kind of shrugs. Davos is like, just takes a bite. Cypress, what are you doing? You have also evil sandwich.
Cypress feels just a little dejected
Yeah.
and unsure of how to read a number of the things in the situation. He kind of, and being justifiably, but in his own mind, he's confused, rebuffed by the two people he immediately goes to about problems. He kind of stands in a more empty spot of the circle, trying to not watch his party members for what they do next, and just holding the bread.
Xanthus is gonna come over to you eventually. Cypress is just like looks over his shoulder at the other soldiers that are now in the area, and it's just like, "Are you all right, citizen?"
As far as I'm aware.
He just kind of nods.
Are you?
As far as I'm aware. Just kind of shrugs. Themisto, you head to the house. The doors are locked.
They say that.
Or closed, I should say. Not locked, but closed. And then as you approach, the door opens.
Yes, I try the handle without knocking.
I was gonna say, as you approach, the door opens. And you see the woman, the acolyte woman, standing there and opens the doorway. Welcome, sister. My name is Manea. Please, come inside. You are just beginning the enlightenment of the others. She gestures in. Oh, you sound quiet.
Boy, something is happening.
Yeah. Zooms. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, Themisto will do a little, sideways nod of acknowledgement. And she will say, "Thank you for this chance."
Of course.
And enter.
And she closes the door. And that's how we end for tonight. Ooh, doggy.
Can you spell her name?
Yeah. Woohoo. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright. Ba-doop. Alright. Well, guys, that was exciting. You're in Sparta now. Sparta, we're inside.
Ray.
Hooray.
Cypress is worried he did a bad thing.
Aretino, welcome.
Thank you.
This should be fun.
It already is.
I think y'all causing a ruckus gave Themisto the ammunition she needed to seem more believable. So
Mhm. No, the ruckuses were good.
ultimately
Oh, yeah.
worked out.
The diversion was great.
Because you
But-
guys got to say some things, learn some things. She got to have
Mhm,
her
mhm,
angle of attack in it, and then the other guys kind of just got to stand back and watch other things about it. So, like,
Oh
it-
my
it
goodness,
worked.
yeah.
worked.
Like, how many of them are there? Like, let's read some thoughts. Let's figure all this out.
Cult of Fear is working on Phoebe right now. She's pretty freaking afraid.
Oh my goodness. Yay!
What's it say on the sheet? What's it say on the sheet?
Oh
Kill Laertes.
yeah. Yeah, Caleb. No, it's the King Xenophon's notes.
Put more vowels in weird places in names.
Demand an apostrophe.
At least one. At least one.
More apostrophes. More apostrophes.
Badoop. All right, and then also Badoop here. Badoop there. Oh no, turn. There it goes. Okay. All right. All right. Well, that was fun. All right, guys. Well,
If you're not emotionally damaged enough, come join us for Vampire tomorrow.
yeah, there's no,
That wave was
there's no
fine.
emotional damage yet. It's fine.
Ooh.
Just a couple evil po' boys being dispersed at the almost angry mob. Down with
It's an
the
out of season McRib. Do not trust it.
That is an evil sandwich.
I was trying to come up with an evil bread pun, and
How long
I
does this
couldn't
take?
in enough time.
That's fine. It's fine. Nothing.
Ooh, I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The closest I got was just a sourdough, but
Hey, it's good start for sure.
You will
David,
ride the
if
day
you
you
don't-
ever crossed us.
David, if you don't come up with a recipe for evil sandwich this weekend, I'd be so disappointed.
All right, I'll work on it. I have some devil's tongue peppers growing in the backyard.
Holy
Hey,
That is, sounds like a horribly evil sandwich.
incredibly appropriate.
Uh
But yes, join us for Savannah by Night tomorrow,
God,
where I'm sure no bad things will happen ever again.
It'll be fine.
I'm severely less stressed about that game than I am about this right now.
Should we take a Vincent Price and say it'll be a scream?
Yes,
be a scream.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh. All right. Oh yeah.
Thanks,
So we'll see-
everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night for Vampire. Next Tuesday for some more Greek action.
nah, jeez.
Hey. Jeez. Jeez. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe we'll get to the
I'm
bottom.
sure I'm not in any danger at all.
I didn't quite realize you were gonna be walking in there right now because I had
Yeah.
a plan, but it's not gonna work anymore.
I thought we were
I-
regrouping, and I was like,
but,
"Wait, was the mister just kidnapped?"
No, I mean you know
Well,
exactly.
because-
You know exactly where she's at.
Mhm.
She's 2 doors down.
Yes. Is it 2 doors down or 3 doors down? That's the band.
3 doors.
Three.
Wake me up.
No.
When September ends. It'll be fine. Exactly, Renan. Exactly. It's all good. We're all fine here. But yeah, until next time, stay fae, be brave. The safe word is mango. Bunny spread, gaze upon our lives, and I don't know. I lost it. I feel like there was another one that we just recently.
Bunny spread?
I did that one.
No,
there was
there is
another
that
one.
God, bunny spread.
There was
There
another.
was one
that we-
recently.
and I don't
I think it came from me, which I'm happy about.
What was
But
it?
yeah, it was during the last session, I think even. Or
Yeah, I was
before.
super
What was it?
recently. I don't remember, but I was like, we'll have to add. We'll check the tape.
Watch the VOD.
Check the tape.
And eventually the outro. Eventually
Grease
the
the
outro
wheels.
will be longer than the show.
Exactly. All right, we'll see you next time, guys. Have a good night. Bye.